Okay, so between this and Selma we did yesterday, season 3 is off to a very interesting start.
Was it good?
It's almost fantastic. Though.
Yes, everyone says so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we saw Inherent Vice.
Still processing this.
This is another one of those. Not even one of those. This is like in its own category of just what was that kind of. Not that it's bad. It's not bad.
Not at all negative. But
like not in a bad way. In just that it's very unique and off-putting, I guess.
It's disorienting.
There you go. That's a good word.
And I don't think I can't like the last movie I can think of that was this just flat out unique. I mean,
Birdman's the one that comes to mind for me.
Still haven't seen Birdman.
Fantastic movie. There was also Her that came out last year.
I still haven't watched it. No, it's just the fact that they okay, we were talking about this on the way back to the car. The fact that this movie is a mishmash of weird other genres.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it even pulls off any one of those genres really well as those genres, but somehow the way that it tries to pull off all of them at once makes it work.
It does.
So,
it creates its own unique feel that I can't classify in a movie I've seen before.
It is a comedy in a weird way. It takes place in the 60s, very heavy on the 60s vibe, very heavy. It pervades
the 60s or 70s?
It takes place in 1970.
Oh, so yeah, basically
it's
60s.
Tail end of the 60s. You get a lot of that culture coming in from all fronts. A lot of the hippie versus straight-laced vibe going on a lot of the time when he's walking around and talking to people. His cadence in the first place, the way the main character talks, even feels a lot like a dude from Big Lebowski, and you were mentioning that.
Yeah,
and I thought the exact same thing the moment he started talking.
Yeah, a lot of people compare this movie to the Big Lebowski, and I can definitely see why. But I feel like it's that blended more with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare this to either one. Really,
because the vibe is kind of similar in terms of what it's going for.
Kind of, I guess, in terms of the surreal, like kind of. But Big Lebowski just always struck me as a wacky escapade with crazy characters, and this one, it's the same thing in that respect, but this one is a lot more briskly paced. It feels more like a Soderbergh movie than.
Maybe, I can kind of see that. I don't know, like, there are parts of the movie really just slow down. This movie's 2.5 hours long.
It is a very long movie.
Like, this is kind of like P.T. Anderson style, where it definitely requires your attention and your patience.
3.5 hours, woo. Because Magnolia. But, no, it manages to take a lot of the 60s stuff, blends it with a weird noir style. The female voiceover that's there throughout the movie.
Yeah, who was that character?
I don't know, but it's an interesting take on the noir approach, where normally it's, the main character's gruff voice talking about, I met her one day when she was dirty, bitty, bad, and it was a dark and stormy night.
How'd that go again?
But
dark and stormy. Rabble.
But, yeah, it takes that, and it's done by, like, this girl who sounds really young and is doing this voiceover for this movie about this weird guy that she just knows. And, there are all these weird little parallels that I can draw to Big Lebowski, but I don't want to compare them simply because the tone of the movie is so drastically different.
That's true.
Yeah. It is in the same, like, weird shit happening to a stoner dude as he's investigating a mystery and trying to find out where this person disappeared to. But the way that it approaches it is so deadpan. There's no there's no whimsical side to this movie outside of the weirdness of some of the stuff that's happening on screen sometimes. And there's a lot of just little bits of humor tossed in throughout the scenes, a lot of little background stuff. And the
like the woman massage center.
Just there. I don't even. The conversations he has with people
are so
bizarre
and off-putting and hard to follow.
And they're so rude. It's, actually, you know what I would actually compare the dialogue in this movie to? And the dialogue feels almost like a Cronenberg movie.
What has Cronenberg done? I'm not too familiar with his work.
Shit, man. Videodrome, The Fly, Dead Ringers, Existence.
Okay, yeah.
The one I'm thinking of specifically for this because of the character montages, Cosmopolis.
Okay, yeah, I know that movie.
Did you see it?
I haven't seen it, but I know it.
It's a cool-ass movie. It's a weird movie, but it's cool and worth your time.
Okay, I'll check it out.
But... So, you have these elements, and you have the fact that it's kind of a stoner comedy, sort of, I guess. But when it all comes together, it just has this weirdly, like... It manages to convey this... You almost feel stoned watching it.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can comment. Like, it's not like this movie will get you high, but
no,
it's got this thing where you see something and you're like, what?
Yeah,
and you just kind of look at it and it's, okay, well, all right, we'll just keep going then. It does that so much.
Just a lot of stuff happens very quickly, and you're just kind of expected just to go with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even going to bother trying to explain the story, because for the love of God, I can't follow it.
It is a very complex story. There's actually one point in the movie where he draws out a whiteboard of all the connections, and I'm like, yeah, that's about what's happened, and we're like... only an hour in.
Towards that point, I just want to pull up Wikipedia and just Google it.
Just like, what's the story here?
Because, like, that was my mistake going to this movie, is I was trying to follow what the hell's going on in the story. You were just along for the ride.
Yeah, man. You really should have just chilled and enjoyed it as it went, because...
Because I'm like, wait, what? Who is he? How is he getting this?
It was one of those things where I thought, at one point I just kind of lost track, and I'm like, I'm just going to catch what I can as I go. And in the meantime, just enjoy how fucking weird this movie is.
Yeah, you got really relaxed while watching this movie.
Yeah, the theater was practically empty, and it was one of those cool theaters where you could put the armrests up, so I just lay across a couple seats, like, just totally chilled out.
There were some parts I couldn't tell if you were asleep or not.
No, that's the thing, when I started to get too comfortable, I just readjusted a bit, but okay, random... awesome characters just drop into this movie.
Yeah. We do have to talk about one in particular.
Absolutely. But I mean, you get random things like Maya Rudolph and Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
And Jenna Malone. Holy shit.
People kind of just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They kind of disappear just as quickly.
They have interesting little cameos throughout the film, but the highlight of the movie's random-ass characters... is Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin makes this fucking movie.
If you've seen Men in Black 3, you should have somewhat of an idea of the kind of shtick that he's pulling. Except imagine that
amplified
and made weirder. Like, really surreal. He has this thing for frozen bananas.
Which is...
and... it's not even subtle. There is a point in the car where
he sees him just sucking it off.
He's the police chief or something, right? And right?
Yeah, he's like a detective or something.
Yeah, but he directly has to deal with
the Doc.
Joaquin character.
Name, they call him Doc.
Yeah, Doc. They just keep it simple, but
they just show him basically sucking on a banana, but it's like slightly blurred out, so it's might as well be.
He's in the foreground, and he's not. It's obvious what he's doing. He's just eating a banana, but the way he's doing it, like he's like licking the tip and kind of just being gentle to it and not biting it, like just seriously filleting the banana, and you just have Doc.
Phoenix just goes.
Doc just sitting there in the passenger seat, just slowly
like what. Like, that's kind of the big nerd scene, like, comparing this to Big Lebowski, though. Is that Big Lebowski was much more, like, a passive observer of all the crazy shit that was going around him, while Doc is much more an active participant.
He kind of just wandered through this crazy mess that was happening, whereas Doc is... he's directly a victim of a lot of this shit. I mean, I can see where people draw the similarity, but I have to stress how different the tone of the movie is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is a different kind of movie.
Like, especially towards the second half. It's still going for the comedy angle, but it's like gets more serious and more like the noir mystery angle.
Because you do get to the part where, you know, they actually start dealing with the people who have disappeared and the dangerous people. Like, that does happen, but it doesn't lose its weird-ass vibe of... Oh, so this is going on now? I guess we're going with it. Like,
pretty much. And that kind of goes back to Josh Brolin, though. Is like, I loved his character in this movie because there's something about the way, like, he's the funniest character in the movie, not because he just does it with this super serious face.
His like deadpan.
Like he's gonna fucking murder you. Like, especially at the very end.
And he looks so angry. He's called Bigfoot. And he'll just... The thing is, he's known for civil rights violations, and they make it a point to point that out multiple times through the movie. There's actually a point in the movie where he walks in and goes, well, after a long day of civil rights violations, I thought I'd drop by to see what's going on.
No, he doesn't walk in. He just... It's getting towards the end. It's going for the happy ending style. Then some... Bam! Josh Brolin comes kicking in through a door.
Yeah, literally, he's unnecessarily violent. One of my favorite scenes early on is when it's like this weird bromance going on between Doc and this guy, because he finds out that the chief is at this police convention or something, and he just runs out there and just dives on the hood of the car and just smacks Bigfoot on the back. Bigfoot is the police chief's nickname. Yeah. And he just turns around and grabs him by the collar and throws him on the ground. And he curls into a little ball, and this is all in slow motion. And he starts stomping him, but not even in the real stomping way, just like he's trying to stomp him, but he can't get a good angle. So he's just like... And then he goes and tries to do like this jumping slam onto him and just kind of sort of balances on top of him with his knees. It's just...
And Josh, he's trying to pick him up.
Yeah, and he's trying to pick him up and
has locked himself in his fetal position.
And he eventually just picks him up like a really heavy-ass suitcase. It's so weird, but it's so great. It's so great.
Like, I think I was telling you earlier, it's like, this is one of the movies I definitely have to watch again to fully understand, because I feel like it's one of those movies I don't fully get.
You have to pay close attention, and there is a little bit of that really bizarre, surreal, like, I wouldn't call it quite Tim and Eric style random comedy, but I would say almost more along the lines of a more subtle version of the kinds of random shit that you would see in old school 90s comedies, like Jim Carrey comedies and stuff.
Yeah, I would say much more subtle.
Much more toned down and subtle, but just in the sense that you meet these weird ass characters that do really not like, oh, this is a kind of wacky person. It's like, no, this is a person who's very seriously weird, and they're taking their weirdness very seriously. They live by it. And when Jenna Malone's introducing how she met her husband.
I'm trying to remember that scene.
About when they did too much heroin, and then they started puking and shitting everywhere in the same bathroom, and they just...
Played by Owen Wilson, by the way.
Yeah, that they don't show this scene. She's just describing it. And Joaquin Phoenix is sitting there going like...
Like, okay.
That was true love. Like, she's talking about basically vomiting between this guy's legs while he's on the toilet.
And he has a hard-on also.
And while he's shitting from the heroin. And it's just horrible evacuation of the bowels from both ends for both of them. And they just bonded through it and fell in love. And Joaquin Phoenix is sitting there horrified. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say, unless you want to get really detailed about how a 2.5-hour movie went. I don't think there's terribly much else to say other than the fact that it's really weird, and I'm really glad we went and saw it because it was so unique. It's such a weird little treat. If you're down to just watch a surreal little movie that's funny in weird little ways and just has its own crazy style, and you know, the 60s was fun. I have a little bit of that. And yeah, if you're down with all that I'm pretty sure it would have been better if I'd smoked pot or something.
Yeah.
Like it's a stoner comedy that is not your standard stoner comedy.
No, there's actually
It's
a brain
so
behind it.
Bizarre.
Well, it's like I'm kind of with you. It's like I've never done drugs or anything like that, but this is like the first movie I've ever seen where it's like, you know what? I'm seriously considering it because I'm kind of curious what the experience is like.
Well, a lot of it is because of how Joaquin Phoenix goes through the movie.
Yeah, he does kind of like fade through the movie.
The whole thing about how it makes you feel kind of high, it is largely due to the fact that when you're high and you see weird shit like that, you know, you just sit back and kind of go, huh, that's weird. And that's pretty much what he does throughout the whole movie. And you're basically forced to take that same stance with him, but you're just kind of on that brink of, I should say something, but it's not worth the conversation. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I had a great time. It was very enjoyable.
I think you enjoyed it more than I did. Again, this is one of those movies I'm not sure I quite got.
You were laughing, though.
I was laughing.
You were laughing.
Like, and there's quite a few visual gags, and like just, again, a lot of Joaquin's body acting, which is hysterical.
When he's walking to the police station and two cops walking out, just like one of them just shoulder checks him, and he's like, "What the fuck?
What the fuck was that?"
And then
every other cop that walks by him after that, he makes a wide like zigzag.
Yeah, and the
berth
voiceover is going on over this, describing it as he's walking in, and he's just going back and forth like between the cops, and the cops are just looking at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, just...
and there was the part where like there's a huge line of cops walking towards him, and you see him just on the ground, one hand on his crotch, because of course it is, just like ducking in cover. So shit like that. This is a weird ass movie, and if you're up for that, this is movies I kind of wish I did some reading about before I walked into it, so I had a better idea what to expect.
Because I walked into it knowing nothing other than the fact that it's a surreal stoner thing.
Yeah,
like that's really
what
it.
I got out of it too,
and I'm fine with that because what I got was a complete surprise. Like I had no idea that Josh Brolin was even in it.
Josh Brolin, no, because I saw the Panakeiko line they showed him. Like,
yeah, I didn't even pay attention to any of that. Like this is one of those movies where new Paul Thomas Anderson movie trailer came out. People were ranting about how awesome the trailer was, and so I specifically did not watch it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna go watch it now when I get home. But I specifically didn't watch it because it's one of those things where I just thought it's gonna be good. I'll check it out, going clean, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
it was fun.
It's kind of, I guess it's kind of like John Wick for me last year.
Yeah, I need to check that out too. It's
John Wick was when we only went to go see it because Grant got free tickets.
Director of V for Vendetta, man.
I knew that, but I was skeptical about it. Then I saw, I was like, this is the most fun I've had in an action movie in so fucking long.
V for Vendetta was an amazing movie, and people forget that. Go watch it again.
Oh yeah, I know I really like V for Vendetta. I really enjoyed it.
When was the last time you watched it?
The past couple of years, I think. So,
go watch it again.
Okay,
it's a good movie.
It is.
It's almost like when you don't watch The Dark Knight for a while, and then you're like, you know what? It's been a while since I watched The Dark Knight, and then you watch The Dark Knight, and you're like, holy shit, this was good.
The problem is now with V for Vendetta is I've read the book, so that kind of
yeah, that will they did have to remove a lot. A lot. Yeah. But yeah, no, the book's magnificent.
Yeah, it is fantastic. It's Alan Moore.
Anyway, Inherent Vice.
Yeah.
We'll just spiral off in a nerd rant talking for a while.
Because we've never done that before.
Well, I mean, at least it's about movies.
That's true.
We're getting into comic books. That's another realm. But yeah, Inherent Vice. Go watch it. It's cool. Support it. It's limited release apparently.
Apparently, considering the marketing for this movie, I was expecting a much wider release.
Considering it's Paul Thomas Anderson, I consider it a wider release.
Yeah, and I
mean, even back in the day when he just did Magnolia, people paid a shitload of attention to him when he released something. I still remember when Punch Drunk Love came out, and
yeah, I forgot he directed that movie.
Yeah.
That's the one movie I begrudgingly like because it has Adam Sandler in it. But
yeah, it was him doing his serious role, and it was I enjoyed that a lot too.
Yeah,
I watched it again recently.
Yeah, it still stands out. Unfortunately, Adam Sandler is still doing his own. You know, I was disappointed because we've been seeing these posters for the movie Pixels all over the place in movie theaters. I was like, oh, that could be interesting. It has like old school characters. I found out that's an Adam Sandler movie, and that really broke my heart just a little bit.
Like, is it an Adam Sandler movie? Like
I think it's
wrote and directed and Adam Sandlerized?
Sure. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So
weird.
That scares me.
That to me looks like him trying to do something different. I'll be open-minded until I see something to prove me. I'll be open-minded until I see something to prove me
Fair
otherwise.
enough.
Yeah.
To each their own on that one.
Yeah.
I've seen too many Adam Sandler things to keep my hopes up for anything.
Hey, if I had judged Jim Carrey for that, I never would have fucking watched Truman Show.
Well, to be fair, Jim Carrey at least respects. Even if he's outrageous, he's still playing a fucking character. But,
Well, yeah, but so.
I mean, like, more so than, say, like, Adam Sandler or Will Ferrell, like, other people. When they just kind of do the same shit over and over again.
I suppose it's different variations of buffoon, but if you look at what...
No, I mean, Jim Carrey repeated himself a lot, but
Yeah, Jim
I felt
Carrey
like he was more committed and actually
did
tried
variations
more.
of buffoon pretty much the same way. And if I had judged Will Ferrell on that, I never would have watched Stranger Than Fiction.
I still gotta watch that one. People keep telling me, oh, I know you hate Will Ferrell, but you'll love this one.
No,
And
Stranger Than Fiction is an incredibly beautiful movie. Like, it is touching, it is powerful, it is simple and yet poignant and applicable. It's very relevant, and it's beautifully acted.
All right, cool.
I absolutely, no question, recommend that movie. 100%.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's comedians try to do some serious stuff sometimes. Adam Sandler has already proven that he can do something good serious with Punch Drunk Love.
I wish he did it more.
And
I heard he was good in top 5. Then again, he's playing himself, so.
yeah, well, funny people, that kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I think we're Inherent Vice. So yeah, if you
Let's
like,
see him trying to do something different. Whatever.
We'll see.
But anyway, Inherent Vice. Yeah.
So I think if I don't know, this is one of the movies you really kind of have to see for yourself and tell now whether you're gonna like it. Like I could say if you've listened to what we have to say, then you figure it out. But
go watch the trailer.
yeah, that's a start.
Watch the
So
trailer.
if you want something trippy and something unique, go check it out.
I wouldn't say trippy, because trippy implies like visuals.
Fair enough. Bad word. But
Like Enter the Void is trippy. That's, but yeah, it's surreal. It's definitely an altered state movie of sorts.
Under the Skin was trippy.
But yeah.
Yeah. So that takes care of the good movies so far for the month of January. Now you got Taken 3 tomorrow.
It's an action movie. Take it for what
You know, it's Liam Neeson kicking people's ass. If it does that well enough, I'm okay.
and occasionally their faces.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering. I never saw the second Taken, but did like his daughter get kidnapped again?
No, I
or
think it was
what's-
his
Maggie Grace.
ex-wife or something.
His ex. She's his ex. What the?
But this dog, I don't know. They did the same exact shit they did.
Liam Neeson needs to save somebody. Watch him kill people for 2 hours.
As long as it doesn't do it nonstop, and randomly tie everything in the movie to 9/11 out of fucking nowhere.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
It's like,
God.
why do you want to hijack this airplane? 9/11. It goes right the fuck out of nowhere.
That shitty Robert Pattinson movie, Remember Me, did the same fucking thing.
Oh, God.
I still remember because I didn't even pay attention to it because it looked terrible. But then I saw an article about like shameless uses of 9/11 in the movie, and seriously, the movie's punchline, not punchline, but like the money shot of it that makes you realize how poignant everything is that through all their struggles with their their personal issues with each other and everything, even though it was a flawed relationship and he was a flawed person, he died in 9/11. So remember him.
Oh, fantastic.
The ending of the movie is basically him going to work in the Twin Towers and it doing a slow pan shot out or zoom shot out and cut to credits as the very subtle sound of an airplane in the background comes in.
Wow.
It's amazingly fucking shameless. It's wow.
Wow.
But, yeah, anyway, Liam Neeson punching things without the 9/11, exploitation.
Oh, and then we got Paddington Bear next week. That's gonna be
Paddington is supposed to be dope, dude.
I know, it has like 97% of
Everybody loves Paddington, bro. It's
I still can't believe it. Like, me and Patrick are gonna go check that one out.
I'd like to see Paddington.
Hey, you're welcome to come along if you want.
No, I don't think it'll come as a group thing, but like at some point, like I don't think I'm into it for as a theater movie.
I can definitely understand that.
Plus there'll probably be a lot of kids around, and I don't want to shut myself in a dark giant room with a shitload of kids for like a couple hours. They'll be fucking talking and crying and
Yeah.
shitting and screaming and being children. So yeah, it's yeah, I'm cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, not looking to be a father then at any point in the future?
No, those are my kids. That's fine.
Fair enough.
It's other people who don't know well enough to keep their kids like.
Sit down and shut up.
If the kid can't sit through an hour and a half long movie, don't shut him in a room with it.
Okay, bye.
That's the thing.
Bye.